Hi everyone. The title of my research article is an analysis of the effects of a functional communication aid for a child with autism spectrum disorder. The study was conducted by Olive, Ling, and Davis, and it was published in 2015. The purpose of the study was to examine the effects of functional communication training with a speech-generating communication device on maladaptive behaviors and language development in a 4-year-old girl with autism. The communication device that was used in this study was a 4-button touch talk with voice output. The client that was involved in this study had very limited vocal ability and often engaged in echolalia, which is repeating words and sounds that were previously or recently heard. She also often perseverated on a variety of non-functional topics, such as her favorite colors, toys, and other favorite things, and often engaged in maladaptive behaviors such as elopement, screaming, hitting, and biting. Researchers in this article had 2 hypotheses before beginning their research. The first one was to examine whether teaching the child to request attention using the communication device would increase the rate of requesting and decrease challenging behavior. And the second examined whether the scores on standardized language assessments would increase after functional communication training. Inter-observer agreement was measured by a graduate research assistant, and IOA was calculated on many factors, including frequency of maladaptive behaviors, requested attention, the use of correct and incorrect pronouns, types of prompts used, reinforcement, and extinction procedures that were used. Treatment fidelity in this study was very high. The client's mom, who was in charge of actually implementing the intervention, was given a handbook on functional communication treatment initially, and there were several training sessions that occurred before the study began. The training sessions included practice for modeling prompts, implementing the procedures, role reversals, and other coaching strategies. The client's mom implemented the functional analysis and intervention procedure correctly on 95.9% of the opportunities, so it was actually very high in the study. The results of the study showed that there was an immediate decrease in challenging behavior, and that was generalized across 4 settings that they used in the study. The initial baseline data showed that the challenging behavior occurred 8.7 times in art class, 4.3 times in reading, 2.8 times in memory, and 2.8 times in puzzles. During the functional communication procedure, the client exhibited challenging behaviors nearly 0 times overall. In terms of requesting, the client made 0 attempts during baseline data, but made an average of 2.5 requests per activity during the intervention phase. For the use of pronouns, 24% were used correctly during baseline, and 86% were used correctly during intervention, showing an obvious increase in overall language ability from the functional communication training. Conclusively, the study showed the effectiveness of parent-implemented intervention consisting of a speech-generating communication device with functional communication training for decreasing maladaptive behaviors, and it also increases the ability to appropriately request. The study also showed an increase in the ability on standardized measures of language. There were some obvious limitations from the study. There was no experimental control demonstrated for the observed changes in correct pronoun use and standardized language assessments. Also, future studies need to replicate these findings across a variety of participants, and these participants must include individuals of different age groups, as the client in this particular study was 4 years old, so other ages need to be looked at. Different cultural backgrounds need to be included, different genders, and different severities of autism.